So what is gold? In this current economy, everyone is thinking about inflation and they're thinking about gold. Is that the right decision? Do you really know what gold is? At its core, gold is a commodity and it's also a medium of exchange for money. Welcome to the Red to Black podcast hosted by Warner and Mario. In this series boot camp, we break down the basic building blocks of business, whether it's currency, accounting, anything that has to do with business. That's what we're breaking down. So we create this strong foundation for you as a businessman or businesswoman. Mario, what are your thoughts on gold?
I hate it.
Very powerful. So Mario hates gold, and here's why. Gold at its core is a commodity. This is what people don't understand about gold. I was reading this book called Where Does Money Come From? It was recommended by a guy that George Gammon interviewed on this podcast. And I started reading this book, Where Does Money Come From? And what I realized when money first started back in, let's say, Babylon and Egypt, it was a system of credits and debits. So they had it on like tablets or papyrus, and they were writing down this column with a line down the center, and they had their credits and debits. You owe me this, I owe you that. And one guy was tasked, or a few guys were tasked with being the administrative scribes who were writing all that stuff down. Now you fast forward to Europe, that's where they started implementing coins, because you didn't want to have 1 point of failure or 2 points of failure. You had to go to this one guy to tell him who you owed what, and he tells you, you owe this guy this and that. So they had this coin system, right? Well, here's what's super interesting, what I learned when I was reading this book. The value of gold had nothing to do with the value of those coins. It was an arbitrary value. So the state said, okay, here's a certain amount of gold, a certain weight, an ounce, or not an ounce. Yeah, probably an ounce or less, whatever it was. There was silver, and they attached an arbitrary value based on what that good or service was worth, or that market, those goods and services were worth in that current time period. Fast forward to today, most people think that the monetary systems are based on the value of gold. They're not. They're based on gold, which is a medium of exchange. This is a key differentiator. It's a commodity that's durable, that's a medium of exchange, that's a unit of account, and you can settle accounts with it. Those are like the four things. And the main thing about gold is it's durable and it's hard to get. So there's not a huge supply of it. So you can't flood a money supply with more gold because there's only a certain amount. So it's a great medium exchange. The challenge is most people are investing in gold nowadays thinking that it's this great valuable asset, which it is, but that's not what money is based on. Money is based on gold, that it's a commodity and that it served a purpose as a bucket where value is stored. Mario, what are your thoughts on what I just described in terms of like where money comes from and how gold was used as a form of money?
Yeah, so it served a purpose for the folks that were selling goods and services or buying goods and services, a medium of exchange. Nowadays, we have digital currencies. Even the U.S. dollar is a digital currency, and we can be much more efficient than slugging around a bag of gold to buy and sell. You had problems. Gold was not perfect. You had problems with gold. They were constantly clipping the coins. So if you look at old ancient coins, they're never round. They've always been clipped off, so they've been shaved. So even if a merchant had to determine, well, it's close enough to the actual original weight of the coin, I'll take it. Or no, this thing's so beat up, I'm not going to take your coin. Yeah, it's supposed to be worth an ounce, but it's been clipped. So gold was never perfect. I hate it because it doesn't pay you to own it. So people that think it's an investment, it's not. It's not an investment. Investment is something that pays you to own it. It makes more of it multiplies. Gold just sits there, and actually there's a carrying cost nowadays to gold. You're gonna have to either secure it yourself, which is gonna take time, effort, energy, or you're gonna have to pay someone else to secure it, which is gonna cost you money. So it doesn't pay you to own it. In fact, it costs you to own it. So I hate it. That's my position, Warner.
Yeah, and the challenge nowadays is people, I think that are getting gold for the first time or don't understand it, they're pricing it as an investment. But at its core, it was never an investment. It was a scarce commodity that served a purpose to provide like a consistent monetary system where you could have a bunch of gold coins, but you weren't afraid Jim Bob over here is going to find the next gold mine and he was going to mint 1,000 new coins and flood the system with it and drive the prices down. That's where they use gold. And you're right, they had a certain amount in a coin and they keep clipping it, they keep devaluing it. So the key thing that I want our listeners to know from this podcast today is, from reading this book, Where Does Money Come From, is that gold was just a bucket. It was just a place to store value. It wasn't like the value of that coin was determined by gold. It was just a medium of exchange. And what I think a lot of people are falling to nowadays is they're like, oh, it's this valuable resource and it's just insane. And it's what the whole monetary system was based on. That's not true. And why I say that is if you're going to if you're going to buy gold as a commodity to store your value, just really understand at its core, what is that commodity worth? That's how you want to do it. It's a commodity. It's a unique commodity. There's not a lot of supply of it. So you really want to break it down and go, this is a commodity. How much is this commodity worth at this time? It's not an investment. That's all I have on that one. Thank you guys. Subscribe to the channel, like and comment. Let us know what else you'd like to hear on this channel. And as always, we look forward to connecting with you in the future.